Now, just imagine, how much does our mind think throughout the day? Sometimes it makes plans, sometimes it shows us dreams. But that same mind often shatters everything too. Why? Have you ever asked yourself, why do I always feel so troubled? I want to do something big, yet why do I feel afraid? Why do I pull myself back every time? Actually, my friends, there are some traps in our mind that we can't see, but they silently imprison our thoughts. Mind traps that set limits on our thinking, forcing us to repeatedly ask ourselves, am I really worthy? Perhaps you might think that a little fear, comparing ourselves to others, seeking approval, these are all normal. But these very normal things become the biggest villains in our lives. Imagine you're so close to a goal, just one step away, but then a voice from within your mind asks, can you really do it? And you stop. We all have a part inside us that constantly holds us back. Sometimes as guilt, sometimes in the form of doubt, sometimes with such a hunger for perfection that it's never satisfied. On the outside, everything seems fine, but deep down, a battle rages with ourselves every day. And these mind traps slowly diminish our motivation. Clarity vanishes, potential gets suppressed. The most dangerous thing is that these traps are so subtle that we think, this is just my own thought, what's wrong with it? But the truth is, this thought isn't truly ours. It's formed from childhood experiences, societal expectations, and sometimes our past failures. Now the question is, can we break free from this? Can we reset our thinking? Can the invisible chains of the mind be broken? So, friends, today on Voicebook Hub, we will decode those mind traps that are silently controlling our careers, relationships, and happiness. And most importantly, we will learn how to get out of these traps. So if you're ready to decode your thinking, if you truly want to gain clarity, confidence, and control in your life, then watch this video till the end, because this isn't just a book summary, this is a deep surgery of your mindset. Chapter 1, The Trap of Negative Thinking. Friends, have you ever felt as if your whole world has been plunged into darkness? Nothing feels good, and even if something good happens, you feel like it won't last long, that something will go wrong. This kind of thinking doesn't just appear suddenly, it slowly makes its way into our minds. This is called negative thinking. Gradually, it eats away at our energy from within. Even if life is outwardly successful, and people are praising us, there's always an emptiness, a dissatisfaction within. Every small problem starts to feel like a mountain, and then we get stuck in that loop. This always happens to me. My luck is bad. I can never do anything good. Imagine, when such thoughts come repeatedly, we ourselves are writing the saddest story of our lives. And this thinking slowly begins to affect our actions, our decisions, our relationships. One small mistake, and we consider ourselves a failure. One piece of advice given, and we interpret it as criticism. If someone genuinely cares, we still think they must have a hidden agenda. And these mind games aren't limited to just thoughts. The body also starts to cooperate. Sleep gets disturbed. Motivation drops to zero. Both mind and body feel heavy. That's why this negativity doesn't just damage mental health, it slowly damages emotional and physical health as well. But the biggest problem arises when it weakens our greatest strength, self-belief. Negative thinking slowly makes us unable to trust ourselves. Others' opinions become our reality. And whenever we think of doing something big, this thought pulls us back into that comfort zone where there's neither growth nor freedom. Now the question is, how do we get out of this? The first step is awareness, recognizing when and how these negative thoughts are triggered. When we become aware, only then do we gain the power to stop them. The second step is replacement. Repeatedly replacing every negative thought with an empowering one. It will seem difficult at first, but slowly it becomes a habit. The mind's lens gradually begins to clear. Challenges will certainly come in life, but how you deal with them is determined by your thinking. And as soon as you start shifting your thinking, it's not just your mindset that changes, your entire world begins to change. Chapter 2, The Trap of Self-Doubt. Friends, have you ever said to yourself, I don't know if I can do this, or perhaps a good opportunity came along, but you let it go just because a voice inside kept telling you, you're not worthy of this? If you've ever felt this way, believe me, you're not alone. Many of us, every day, with every decision, are fighting an enemy that sits within us, self-doubt. This is the same doubt that slowly weakens the roots of our confidence. A whisper that says, that was just luck, you didn't really do it, or even if you try, you'll just fail. The biggest problem with self-doubt is that it slowly becomes a part of our identity. We start seeing ourselves through the lens of that doubt, thinking things like, I'm just an ordinary person, there's nothing special about me, I always make mistakes, what will people think? Over time, this thinking becomes so habitual that we start valuing ourselves only as much as our fear tells us to. But have you ever wondered where this doubt comes from? Sometimes it's from childhood experiences, repeated failures, or someone casually saying, you can't do this. That one line just settles directly into your heart. Then, no matter how well you perform, your mind constantly seeks some kind of proof that you're not enough. And when we doubt ourselves, the world does too. Opportunities slip by right in front of us, and we just stand there watching them go. Then comes a time when we stop taking risks. We start playing it safe. We put our dreams aside, calling them impractical. And slowly, a talented person learns to accept an average life. But friends, the truth is that self-doubt is an illusion. It's not your reality. It's just a layer that has accumulated over you from years of conditioning, and it can be removed through awareness, action, and acceptance. Whenever you doubt yourself, remember that your mind needs proof, and that proof will only come when you take action. Therefore, the first step is to collect small victories. Genuinely celebrate every small achievement. Keep reminding yourself, I did this, so I can do it again. The most powerful way to silence self-doubt is to step outside your comfort zone. The more you push yourself, the more you learn from failures, the more your doubt will transform into confidence. And most importantly, listen to your inner voice more than the voices of others, because the truth is, no one can believe in you as much as you can believe in yourself. And once that self-belief awakens from within, no trap, no doubt can stop you. Chapter 3, The Trap of Fear. Friends, fear, this is an emotion that is invisible, yet everyone feels it. We know we are afraid, yet we often ignore this fear. We don't name it, we don't share it with anyone. On the contrary, we try to hide it. Sometimes it's the fear of failure, sometimes of rejection, sometimes of, what will people think? And sometimes, the strangest fear is the fear of success. Yes, success. Because if we really succeed, will we be able to handle it? Will we be able to bear that level of responsibility? This fear silently traps us in invisible chains from within. We want to do something, we have a big dream, a goal. But as soon as we take the first step, our heart starts pounding. Endless questions flood our mind. What if I fail? What will people say? And with just that one question, we stop. We don't do anything. Opportunities pass us by, and we just keep thinking. The most interesting thing is that this fear is mostly not real. Studies say that 90% of fears are only created in our minds. In reality, they never happen. But the mind makes them so real that we freeze. Then begins overthinking, a long chain of worst-case scenarios, and then the mind itself decides, don't do anything. This is safe. But friends, have you ever thought? The very thing you fear the most might be the path to your growth. The comfort zone where you feel safe, that's where the real danger lies, the danger of losing yourself. Fear will always keep you away from action. But the truth is, action breaks fear. Every time you face your fear, the confidence that comes afterward is hard to describe. It reminds you that fear was just an illusion. And yes, having fear is not wrong. It's normal for fear to arise, it's a human emotion. But letting that fear control your decisions, that's the real trap. When we make decisions under the influence of fear, we merely survive. We don't truly live. So the next time you feel afraid of a new task, just pause for a moment and ask yourself, what lies beyond this fear? Perhaps a new beginning. Perhaps the very dream life you've been thinking about for years. Perhaps a version of yourself that is many times better than you are today. Fear will remain, that's for sure. But learning to walk with it is what true life is about. Because the only difference between winners and mere dreamers is this: winners also feel fear, but they still take action. Chapter 4: The Trap of Limiting Beliefs. Friends, have you ever told yourself, I can't do this? This is beyond me. Maybe it's just not meant to be for me, or I'm not that lucky. What I have is enough for me. If yes, then pause for a moment. For a second, think, is this absolutely true? Or has your mind created an invisible wall that you've never broken? If there's one greatest power in this world, it's belief. And the greatest danger also becomes this belief when it works against us. Everyone's mind has some hidden rules that prevent us from exploring ourselves. The strange thing is that we don't create these rules ourselves. They come from childhood experiences, societal expectations, repeated failures, and sometimes the sting of a rejection. Slowly, these rules become deep-seated beliefs in our minds. I'm just average. I can't be rich. I'm not worthy of love. Success. That's for others. These are the limiting beliefs that confine our potential within a small boundary. And the most dangerous part is that these beliefs don't stop us directly. Instead, they make us feel as if perhaps we ourselves don't want to move forward. Imagine if a person had the power to fly, but was taught from childhood that they don't have wings. Would they ever try to fly? No, they would crawl on the ground their whole life, never seeing the sky or taking flight. Why? Because they believed, I cannot fly. Now think, are you perhaps doing something similar in your own life? Have you also perhaps bound your inner potential with some invisible ceiling? The trickiest part of limiting beliefs is that they aren't visible, they are just felt. As soon as you move towards a new interest, your mind immediately says, you're too late. You don't have the resources. What will people think? You've never done it before, why now? And we believe it. But the truth is, friends, these beliefs can be broken. It's difficult, but not impossible. The first step is to identify those beliefs that are holding you back. Question them, is this true? Is there any proof of this? And then slowly rewrite them. Changing a belief system is a process, a practice. Every time you challenge your old doubts, you open a new possibility in your life. Every successful person's story begins here, when they broke their limiting beliefs, when they told themselves, why not? So your story can also begin here. Just start upgrading your belief system, because you are not what the world has said, you are what you believe yourself to be. Chapter 5: The Trap of Perfectionism. Friends, has it ever happened to you that you didn't even start a task because you couldn't do it perfectly? Or you started something but left it halfway through, just because it didn't turn out as good as your expectations? If this feeling sounds familiar, then you might also be caught in the trap called perfectionism. See, perfectionism looks great from the outside. It seems like we are very sincere and committed to our work, and to some extent, this is true. But deep down, this very perfectionism becomes an invisible chain that slowly kills our creativity, productivity, and most importantly, our growth. Perfectionism teaches us, either everything must be flawless, or do nothing at all. And this mindset repeatedly prevents us from taking action. Sometimes, we get so caught up in polishing a simple idea that it never even sees the light of day. We keep delaying our goals, thinking, it's not the right time yet. Let me prepare a little more. Let me make a perfect plan first. And in the pursuit of this planning, the most important steps in life are never taken. Do you know what's most painful? When someone else launches the very idea that was in your mind, imperfect as it may be, into the market. They try, they make mistakes, and they gradually grow, and you stand right there with your perfect plan that has never left the paper. Perfectionism also puts us in the comparison trap. We constantly start comparing ourselves to others. Their content is more polished than mine. Their life is more organized than mine. They are more confident than me. And then we don't take action because we feel that unless we can achieve that level of perfection, why even start? But what's the truth? Progress is always better than perfection. In real life, the winner is not the one who is most perfect, but the one who is consistent. The one who starts imperfectly, makes mistakes, learns, and evolves every day. Perfectionism is an illusion, a place that never arrives, which always says, wait a little longer. The time hasn't come yet. And then one day, you say to yourself, I wish I had started. So the next time your mind says, not now, it's not perfect yet, reply to it, it may be imperfect, but I am starting now. Because true beauty lies in work that is done from the heart, even if it's rough, raw, but it's real. Chapter 6, The Trap of Comparison. Friends, imagine you wake up in the morning, pick up your phone, open Instagram, and the first story you see is of someone on a foreign trip. Another shows a luxury car, then someone's six-pack abs, someone's million subscribers, or a dreamy wedding photo. And then a question silently sneaks into your mind, where am I in my life? This is where the silent game of comparison begins. Our mind slowly starts to use others' achievements as a scale for our own shortcomings. Things that gave us joy yesterday now seem worthless. The progress we were excited about now feels meaningless. Why? Because now we're comparing our life to someone else's story. This comparison trap is very tricky because sometimes we feel like we're just being inspired. But when does this inspiration turn into jealousy, and when does jealousy turn into self-doubt? We don't even realize it. Social media has, in a way, turned life into highlight reels. Everyone is showing their best moments, best angles, best filters. And we start comparing that 15-second sparkle to our 24-hour reality, without even knowing how much darkness lies behind that sparkle. The deepest impact of comparison is on our self-worth. We disconnect from ourselves. We start disrespecting our own journey. Slowly, our focus shifts from achievement to competition. We think, I have to do this, instead of, I have to be better than them. And this is where we lose. Because there's no end to the comparison race. There will always be someone better than you, smarter, richer, more talented, luckier. If you get caught in this race, you won't win, nor will you be happy. Now, ask yourself, has anyone else been through your exact journey? Are their background, challenges, timing, circumstances the same as yours? If not, then what's the point of comparison? Your journey is yours. Your speed is yours. Who cares if someone arrives earlier or later? When the goal is to live, not to win. The most effective way to get out of comparison is gratitude and self-awareness. When you learn to appreciate your own journey, celebrate small victories, and compare yourself to your previous version, that's when real growth happens. Because a person who is committed to themselves never loses. So the next time you're scrolling through social media, pause for a moment, take a deep breath, and tell yourself, their story might be inspiring, but my story is unique, and I will live it with full pride. Chapter 7. The Trap of Guilt. Friends, have you ever felt that sensation, like a burden on your chest? As if something is eating away at you from within, an old decision, a broken promise, or words spoken to a loved one that pierced your heart. And this guilt keeps breaking us from within. We smile, but our heart remains heavy somewhere. We want to move forward, but the hand of guilt pulls us back. In reality, guilt is an invisible chain, an emotional trap that keeps you stuck where you don't want to be. They say everyone makes mistakes. But if we remain entangled in the same mistake, how can we move forward? Sometimes, we punish ourselves so many times that we believe we don't deserve happiness. Think, have you apologized to anyone? Perhaps. But have you forgiven yourself? Because until you forgive yourself, your heart won't lighten, and when your heart is heavy, progress is impossible. Guilt stops us right there. We ask ourselves, did I do the right thing? Am I a good person? And these very questions pull us back at every step. But what's the truth? The truth is that every mistake, every wrong decision, brings with it a lesson. A big mistake, a big lesson. So if you've ever made a mistake, accept it. Learn from it, and most importantly, forgive yourself. If you can forgive others, why not yourself? The way out of guilt is self-forgiveness and letting go. When you let go of guilt, only then do you find peace. Otherwise, guilt eats up your present. And without a present, how can a future be built? So whenever guilt raises its head again, tell yourself, I made a mistake, but now I am capable of moving forward. And this mindset is true strength. This mindset also helps you get out of other mental traps, whether it's negative thinking, self-doubt, fear, limiting beliefs, perfectionism, or comparison. The way out of every trap is within us: self-awareness, self-acceptance, and self-love. As soon as you recognize your mind traps and challenge them, your confidence returns. Then you see yourself from a new perspective, as a version that isn't afraid of mistakes but learns from them. So now the question is for you. Will you let these traps stop your growth, or will you turn them into stepping stones and unleash your inner power? The decision is yours, because you are the creator of your own destiny. If you liked this video, please like and share it, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more motivational content like this. Let go of the guilt, fear, and doubts within you, because you have the power to break any trap. Stay inspired, keep growing, and move forward with pride.